of my favourite motivational speakers is Les Brown, and if you haven't heard of him, I highly recommend that you go listen to him, because not only is his content so great, but just the way he's just so energetic. He's such a funny guy and I just love watching him. But he actually says, Les Brown says, when you're going through a difficult time and if you're going through a hardship, 99% of the time, if you tell a family member or a friend, they'll be glad that it's you, not them. And that's unfortunately the way that society and the world is these days. So the same applies to your own personal relationships. If it's an SP that you're interested in, don't be that person who relies and is expecting someone else to come and save them. You should, your emotions should be so rock solid and like steel. They should be like made of steel, that you're so powerful. It doesn't matter if you have somebody in your life or not, you're still content and happy. Now, I know that's easier said than done, because even myself, I've been through a lot of difficulties and I've been through anxiety, and I suffered from panic attacks. And at that point, you just want someone there, because in your mental head, your mindset, it's telling you you're alone, you're abandoned, and all these negative feelings from maybe your childhood's coming up, the traumas of your past. But what you have to do is overcome them. This is where the affirmations come in. And although people do say, there's a lot of gurus and coaches out there saying that you should affirm all the time, every day. Personally, I don't think you need to do that, because if you're in a very difficult point in your life, where you do feel it's very difficult, you're going through a lot of panic attacks, then having a good mental diet, telling yourself constantly, I'm loved, I'm chosen, I'm enough, I'm worthy, telling yourself all these positive affirmations is going to help you, and it's going to basically override any negative thoughts. So if you find that you're sitting alone and you're going through these things, and that's another thing, if you find that you've got a lot of time on your hands, that's why you're actually thinking a lot of these negative thoughts. So what you need to do is keep yourself busy, keep your mind occupied, and by doing that, you're basically keeping your focus elsewhere. I think I'm going to have to do a part 2 to this, but basically what I'm just going to finish and say is, you don't need someone to rely on to make you happy. You're worthy, you're enough within yourself, no matter who you are, what you've been through. I can guarantee that you have it within you to be happy within yourself. So this is part 2 to You Are Enough. If you haven't watched part 1, then please go watch that on my profile first. So just continuing on from where I was saying, you are enough, you're worthy. You don't need anybody, whether it's a partner, whether it's a family member, whether it's even just your employer, to say that you're good enough for your job, because you are worthy. You wouldn't be in this position, you wouldn't get to where you are without the skills and the mindset. And see, the thing is, the universe is always attracting what you feel and what you are. This is where the everyone is you pushed out comes into play, because it doesn't matter if you have the certain skill set, for example, but if you feel like you're adamant, you genuinely feel you are enough and you can do a specific role, for example, in your workplace, then the universe will make things work out, and they'll fall into place in a way that things will work your way in your favor. And the same applies for relationships. When we are not feeling ourselves, when we're not 100%, we feel we're lacking and we need somebody in our life to make it fulfilled. Well, that's putting, first of all, a lot of pressure on somebody else, because you are relying on someone else to make you happy, basically, right? Number 2, you should be adding. So in a relationship, you should be adding value, and someone else should be adding value to you, so that you're both making things work out. You're both learning and growing as humans. And I think it's maybe stemmed from, especially in women, it stemmed from a young age, where we have watched these Disney movies where Rapunzel's saved by the prince, and there's Cinderella and she's saved by the prince as well. We're always expecting there's this man or whatever's going to come along, and they're going to make your life perfect, and when you meet this person, everything will just fall into place. Well, guess what? that's not reality, that's not how things work, and that's not what happens. And I think the quicker that you realise that, the more you tell yourself that, you know what, you're enough to go and live your life, and you should be able to take yourself out on dates. You know, go take yourself out on a date, go watch a movie on your own, go have a meal on your own. And you know, by doing that, it's just so self-fulfilling, because you realise you don't need somebody there. You can have an amazing time and you just do what you want without having to argue over like whether you want salt or sweet popcorn. So I hope that this video makes sense. I'm at the end of part 2. If you would like another part, please comment. But I hope that you understand where I'm coming from, and this has helped you to some extent.